Hello, my name is Adam Dodge with Delivery Drivers Incorporated. I am going to be discussing your 2014 taxes. I'm going to go through your profit and loss statements, the different tax forms that you're going to need to complete to do your taxes, some of the things that you can write off, and just cover a lot of material that'll hopefully answer some of your initial questions and give you a good baseline for filing your taxes as a self-employed driver working in our network. The first thing you need to do, if you haven't done so already, is access your tax packet. You can do that by going to our website, ddiwork.com, hovering over Driver Partners, click on Already a Driver, and log in. If you don't know your password or have forgotten your password, just click the Forgot Password link and you can get that squared away. As a reminder, when you hire Delivery Drivers Incorporated to manage the accounting and administration of your business, you receive a lot of benefits, including tax work. So we put together all of your tax information, which is essentially a consolidation of all of your income and expenses for the tax year, in this case 2014. We're going to run through all of the different expenses that you may have incurred, the different types of income you incurred, how to go forward and file those taxes, and specifically spend a lot of time on the things that you get to write off. The goal here, running the type of business that you run, is to really take advantage of all the different tax write-offs that you have available to you. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Okay, so first thing you're going to notice now, at this point you've gone to our website, you've logged in, you've downloaded your personal tax information, and you've printed this guy right here, this 15 or 20 page packet or so. The most important piece of this tax packet is this front page right here. This is your profit and loss statement for 2014. At DDI, every single week we reconcile your accounting, we retrieve all of the money that you earned over the course of the week, and then we itemize those incomes and those expenses. And this profit and loss statement is a consolidation of the entire year of 2014. So we're going to run through it really quickly. Up here, of course, you're going to see your name, some explanation of what this actually is, so please be sure to read through that. And then the boxes, and this is where we're itemizing the income and expenses. This top box right here, this income box, this is your gross income. This includes the entire delivery fee that your customer has paid you on every job you did. It includes any tips that we've processed for you through our accounting system. So if you're earning credit card tips and you're receiving those tips from us through the wire transfers, the direct deposits on a weekly basis, those figures are going to be included in this gross income field. What will not be included in this gross income field are any any cash tips that you've received over the course of the year if we're not processing those. Or if you're working in a market where you're getting your credit card tips cashed out daily, this box right here, this income box, is not going to account for those tips. So keep that in mind. You, as an individual taxpayer, are going to be responsible for reporting your cash tips and all of your tips as part of your total income on your tax returns that you're going to be completing for 2014. Below the income box, there are going to be several boxes here ranging from 4 to maybe 7 or 8 boxes depending on which market you're working in. These are all expenses that we've processed for you through our accounting support. So things like the marketing fees you're paying your marketing companies that we reconcile for you, those are going to be itemized here. DMV reports, if you're somebody that's producing your own DMV reports to meet insurance standards, we're not going to have a record of it. But if you're having us run your MVRs, your DMV reports and screening those, we're going to itemize those here. The fees you pay us, the DDI admin fees that we reconcile weekly, that's going to be on here. If you're enrolled in any of our insurance programs, the occupational accident injury insurance program is a popular one. That is going to be itemized here. So refer to these. These are very specific write-offs that come right off the top of this income number. As we get into the packet, you'll see on the specific tax forms where you're going to place each of these numbers. We provide very, very specific instructions on where to put each of these numbers. And then at the bottom right here, you have a net earnings. So this is the baseline. Again, what this does not include in terms of income are going to be any cash tips that you received, or if you work in a market where you're cashing out your credit card tips on a daily or weekly basis, if we're not processing those are things that you are going to have a record of and report on your tax return. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the different things that you can write off. One of the benefits of being self-employed and running your own business comes in the world of taxes. As an employee of a company, I'm not able to write off a lot of expenses, but when you run your own business, any money you spend during the course of running that business becomes a business expense and therefore a tax deduction. So I'm going to run through some of the very specific things, some of the typical things that drivers working in our network write off on an annual basis when they do their taxes. First and foremost, the biggest write-off that anybody in your profession is going to have is going to be their vehicle. The IRS allows you to do one of two things when it comes to your vehicle. Number one, this is the least popular option. You can itemize and expense every dollar you spent on your vehicle as it relates to business. So every time you get gas while you're on a shift, every time you get an oil change, if you had to replace your tires, if you had regular maintenance, maybe you had to fix your transmission. If you sum up the total amount of those receipts for the year 2014, and those expenses were specifically business related, you can take the sum total of what you spent on your vehicle and write that amount off as a business expense. You have the right to do that. Option B, which is far and away more popular, primarily because one, it's simpler to calculate, and two, it becomes much more profitable for you on your tax. It becomes a larger write-off, is the standard mileage deduction. And the way that works, for 2014, the IRS allowance for mileage is 56 cents per mile. So how that works is, for every business mile you drove in 2014, you get a 56-cent tax write-off. You're looking at 12,500 miles total. You'd multiply that number by the 56 cents, and you're going to end up with something around a $7,000 tax write-off. Right off this bottom number right here, this net income, you would be able to deduct around $7,000 off that line item, which becomes a huge benefit to you and really mitigates your tax liability. Another major write-off for guys working in our program is typically their cell phone, their mobile device. To interact with the software that your marketing companies are using, generally you have to have a smartphone or at least a cell phone to receive job offers, to communicate with the software, to interact with the software, to communicate with the office. So your mobile device becomes a business expense that you can absolutely take advantage of on your taxes. First, if you bought a new phone in 2014 for this job, you could write off the sum amount that it cost you to purchase that phone. The big write-off here is going to come on your monthly payments. So the way that works legally on your tax return is you get to write off the percentage of your cell phone bill that is business related. So the way that works, if you have a $100 phone bill every month and you use your phone for work or for business 50% of the time, then you could write off 50% of your monthly bill as a business expense. So if you're paying $100 a month, that would be $1,200 over the course of the year. If you're using your phone 50% of the time for business, that becomes a $600 tax write-off for you. If you're looking for other things to write off, ask yourself this question. If you made a purchase specifically for your occupation, for your business, then yes, that is a business expense. So if you're working in the Pacific Northwest, for example, and it's rainy a lot and it can get cold, especially at night, if you bought some pants or some jackets or some rain gear or anything like that that you can use during the course of your business, those are things that you can write off as a business expense. As with any other tax information or questions that you may have, DDI's accounting team and account managers and everybody over here is equipped to answer any tax questions you have. If you're not sure whether something is a write-off or not, feel free to call our office, 888-DDI-WORK, hit the tax extension on there, and somebody here will be able to answer any questions you have related to your taxes, related to write-offs. The next page, past your profit and loss statement, these are just some frequently asked questions. I had mentioned that if you have any questions about write-offs or any other materials related to your taxes, that you can call our office. Chances are the question that you have is going to be addressed in this FAQ page, so please refer to page 2 of your tax packet before calling our office, and hopefully that will answer the question that you have. Onto your tax forms. So one of the things that we do in accordance with your tax packet, we not only provide you the profit and loss statement, we not only provide you some instructions, some answers to frequently asked questions, some materials about tax write-offs as well. We also provide you with the actual tax forms that you're going to need to complete to file your taxes for the income you earned as a self-employed driver in 2014. The first one, everybody completes some variation of this form, whether they're an employee, a 1099 independent contractor, or a self-employed individual like yourself, is a 1040 form. This is a tax form that everybody completes, whether it's the 1040, 1040A, 1040 Easy. You just need the typical, the standard 1040 tax form, which is pretty self-explanatory. So you're going to go ahead and complete that. In addition to the 1040, you have 2 supplemental tax forms. This is really where you're gonna take advantage of your tax write-offs. The Schedule C, the itemization tax form, is where you're going to itemize all of your expenses. So on the profit and loss statement that we had talked about in the beginning, we list all of the expenses that you had that we process for you. You're gonna itemize all of those things on there. In addition, the Schedule C is where you're going to take your mileage deduction or your car expense deduction, your cell phone deduction. If you're one of the few that actually has a home office, you can do your home office deduction there, and any other business expenses and tax write-offs that you might have had, from apparel and clothing to liabilities, any money you spent on your business to advertising. You're going to take advantage of those on the Schedule C, which we provided for you in our packet. We've also provided a nice breakdown for you, and this is what this page is going to do, is it's going to show you where to put those dollar figures in terms of what part of the Schedule C that each category of expense is going to go on there. And then lastly, in terms of your tax forms, assuming you do have some liability, hopefully it's pretty low. If you do, you will have to fill out the self-employment tax form. It's the Schedule SE. We provide you instructions for that as well. Again, as I've said previously, any questions that you have about your personal tax situation, general tax questions, how to go about completing these forms, what these forms mean and how they impact you from a tax perspective, please feel free to contact our office at any time. First and foremost, when filing your taxes, you're going to want to file your taxes as a sole proprietorship, as running your own business. Use your name and your residential address is going to be your business address on those tax forms. Your business is not the same as the marketing company you work with. It's not the same as you know, us as Delivery Drivers Incorporated. Your business is generally going to be your name, unless you've taken formal approaches to formalize your business. We recommend, if you can afford it, it's worth the investment to go to a professional tax person to do your taxes. We understand that can be costly. There are some free resources that you can use. We recommend freetaxusa.com as a free resource for you to do your taxes. Taxact.com is another one. TurboTax is a fantastic service that does cost a little bit of money. Lastly, some tips as you look to 2015. As you're maybe scrounging around looking for your business expenses, trying to figure out how many miles you drove, trying to figure out, you know, your receipt situation for your business expenses. Here's some tips for you for 2015. Number one, there are a couple of apps out there that can help you with your mileage tracking. So look those up. One is Q, one is TripLog. Those are a couple of apps that are popular and are based. They'll track your mileage for you. Lastly, in terms of documentation, keeping receipts, doing all of those different things, a number of drivers that work in our program have suggested getting a low-limit credit card or a debit card or some sort of prepaid Visa card that you can use for all of your expenses. That's it for this year's tax video. If you have any questions, like I said, 888-DDI-WORK, click on the tax extension. Someone will be more than happy to help you with any questions. Visit our website, ddiwork.com. Refer to the tax packet that you printed from our website. And we are making the rounds again this year. So we will be visiting some of the markets where we have driver partners working and running some in-person tax meetings there as well.